I've heard more teachers who are in their 40s this year saying that they've gone onto the CalSTRS website with the pension calculator and said, what would happen if I actually did retire this year or next year, than I've ever heard before. They're kind of joking, but they're also kind of not joking. If things get worse, they're looking for a way out because they don't know if they can continue doing this for another 20 years. And that's horrifying. I'll be retiring in not too much longer, and they'll be the ones who are leading the school and helping the new teachers acclimate. They can't go. And so that has me very concerned. If they're looking for a way out, that's kind of scary.
Diana Lambert, who is the senior education reporter at EdSource, a nonprofit publication that focuses on education right here in California, explains the bigger picture.
Just the fact that we have a large group of teachers retiring naturally. We had a big group of teachers in a certain age group who are now retiring. Then we had a 25% increase in retirements in 2020 because of COVID. It has leveled off, but it's impacted us greatly. And although we did have a slight uptick in teacher candidates graduating, it's not enough. It just isn't enough. Now we have other teachers retiring, leaving early. They're not counted in the retirement numbers. So leaving early because of bad behavior, the lack of support from administration in some cases, and just, general feeling that people don't appreciate teachers.
I'm seeing more considering things in education outside of teaching. More of them thinking, I think I want to go to the county level. I think I want to go to the district level. I think I want out of the classroom. Not necessarily wanting to leave the profession of education altogether, but wanting to find ways to love what they do, but not do it in the classroom anymore. And that makes me sad, because I feel like there's some amazing teachers who have real connections with kids that are burning out.
And with teachers retiring, recruiting new teachers is crucial. So how has California addressed the issue?
They put $2 billion in the last 4 years into teacher training, retention, and recruitment. There's several new programs that are in place, residency programs, as well as just grow your own programs where districts will train their bus drivers, clerks, etc., people with bachelor's degrees generally, put them through a credential program that the state pays for.
We've got to do something different if we're going to bring people into the profession.
Troy Flint, who is the Chief Information Officer for the California School Boards Association, says more needs to be done at the state and federal level.
When we treat the situation with the urgency it deserves, that we'll be able to make a dent in this situation and eventually get back to sea level. But it's going to take a real concentrated effort of will to do that. And we haven't seen that at the state or the federal level yet. There have been incremental programs, grant programs, both at the state and at the federal level, but we need something much more monumental to equal the task. We need to look at things like scholarships for people who are entering the teacher profession, debt forgiveness programs that really work, unlike the ones we have, which almost nobody can qualify for. We need to make the conditions better for teachers in schools so the position looks more attractive. We need to increase compensation as well. This can't just happen at the local level. There needs to be a lot of support where there's more power, where there's more resources. That's at the state and federal level to drive this.
I would love for us to pay our student teachers. They need to be paid. We're asking them to take on more student debt, to do an apprenticeship job that we're not paying them to apprentice. Other professions, you get an apprentice wage. We're not doing that. We're like, this is part of your schooling and you can't work while you do it. So you're gonna take on more debt in order to become a teacher. But if we paid them an apprenticeship wage, it says you're valuable, we want you in this profession, we're willing to pay you to apprentice.
There are still lots of people who want to work with kids and they love their subjects. I get to teach some of the greatest books ever written, and that's very fulfilling for me when I see a kid's eyes light up and really get into the works that we're studying, and that's really powerful for me. But if you've never done the job and you don't know what it's like to see that happen with a kid, then that may not be something necessarily that will pull you past all of those other barriers into the profession.
One of the first steps that we need to take as a nation, as a state, as local communities to addressing the teacher shortage is to restore respect to the profession of teaching, or maybe give it proper respect for the first time. That can take the form of increased compensation. It can take the form of improved working conditions.
At the beginning of the year, I always write a letter to my students, and then I have them write a letter to me. And I've used the same quote for many years as part of that letter, and it comes from King Lear by Shakespeare. And King Lear says, "Nothing comes of nothing." And I use that to talk to the kids about how if you can give me something, I can work with you. If you give me nothing, then it makes it that much harder.